Well, Stephen Colbert walked off stage on his show, The Late Show with Stephen Colbert, and I'm sure there were some cringe moments with Stephen Colbert. Of course, I didn't watch Stephen Colbert last night. I don't ever do because I wasn't interested, never am. Even if Stephen Colbert cried last night on The Late Show with Stephen Colbert. So, yeah, let's go ahead and talk more about Stephen Colbert. As Stephen Colbert's career ended last night with the final episode of The Late Show with Stephen Colbert. But this ain't just, about one guy losing a talk show. See, what happened to Colbert is should be a warning sign to every single person in the media right now. And what CBS did next proves the whole game has changed, okay? Now, the Late Show's franchise ran for 33 years. David Letterman started it back in 93. Colbert took over in 2015 and hosted for 11 seasons. At his peak, he was pulling, 2.7 million viewers a night. And CBS just canceled his show. Okay, so they didn't just cancel, they killed the entire franchise. Gone, done. 33 years of television history basically wiped off the schedule. So, yeah, 3 days later, CBS did pull the plug on Colbert, where he went on air and called his own network's deal with President Trump a big fat bribe. Okay, so 3 days. That's all it took. Monday night, he says bribe on the national television. Thursday morning, he's gone. Okay. And now CBS will tell you, and they have told you, that this was purely a financial decision against, challenging backdrop, if you will, as they call it, in late night. Okay. I mean, that's their official quote. And sure, maybe the economics of late nights are rough, but basically, let me walk you through what was actually happening behind the scenes, because once you see the timeline, the financial decision story falls apart completely. Okay. So basically, Paramount, CBS, a number of things out there stating that, it's like they're saying that that's Paramount is CBS's parent company. They were in the middle of, a massive merger with Skydance Media. Okay. So we're talking like an $8 billion company. Okay. $8 billion company right there. It's like a lot of drama with that too, with the whole merger with Paramount and Skydance, along with, Warner Brothers and stuff. I mean, that was just a huge thing right there, if you ask me. Okay. And the whole thing with the merger with Skydance and Paramount and stuff, this is kind of crazy. But I'm just going to walk you through what was actually happening behind the scenes and stuff. But they were in the middle of a massive merger with Skydance, as I said. I mean, we're talking $8 billion deal, and that deal didn't go through. So they needed regulatory approval from the FCC. And who runs the FCC? A Trump appointee, Brendan Carr. So right off the bat, Paramount needed the Trump administration's blessing to close the biggest deal in their company's history. Now, at the same time, Trump had a lawsuit going against CBS where he was suing them over, the whole 60 minutes interview with Kamala Harris from the 2024 campaign. Okay. We all remember that and how big of a mess that was, And the crazy thing about that was the fact that they had her up there and they were speaking out all these things against him. But that's no surprise and stuff, because I mean, that's how the media works, and that's how they operate. Okay. And and it's crazy but not surprising, because they paid President Trump $16 million as a settlement, where Paramount settled the lawsuit with him, and less than a month later, the FCC actually, approved the Skydance merger. Connection? CBS says absolutely not. Now, you can decide that for yourself, but Stephen Colbert, decided for himself too. You see, on a Monday night in July, one time, Colbert goes off air, looks into the camera and says, and this is a direct quote, "I believe this kind of complicated financial settlement with a sitting government official has a technical name in legal circles. It's a big fat bribe. So he called it a bribe. That was a Monday. Then later that Thursday, I believe last year, CBS announced the Late Show was canceled. Okay. Now, you'd think that this story ended there, right? But where the host insults his own network fires the host, take as old as tell as old as time, basically. But this is where it gets much bigger. Okay. So Trump didn't just, let the cancellation speak it for itself. He just went straight to Truth Social and wrote, and I need you to hear this, I absolutely love that Colbert got fired. His talent was even less than his ratings, and then he added one more line, 7 words that turned out to be a prophecy, where he wrote, I hear Jimmy Kimmel is next, okay? Now, when he posted that, most people laughed it off, basically saying that, he's just bluffing and everything, or nothing's going to happen. But when he posted that, most people laughed it off. I mean, a sitting president doesn't get talk show hosts fired. That's how America works. That's what they were thinking, right? But fast forward 2 months, September 2025, Charlie Kirk lost his life when he was assassinated. It was a horrific story, and Jimmy Kimmel goes on the air and makes comments about how many people in MAGA land are working very hard to capitulate on the murder of Charlie Kirk. And the MAGA gang was desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them. That's what he said. Okay. So the FCC chairman, Brendan Carr, Trump's guy, goes on a podcast and says about ABC and Disney, we can do this the easy way or the hard way. Okay. The chairman himself of the FCC just told a major media company easy way or hard way over something a late night host said in a monologue. So within days, Disney pulled Kimmel off the air, suspended him, and when he came back, he apologized, or so-called apologized on air. But I don't even think that wasn't even an apology, to be honest with you. But it didn't stop there. Okay, so in April this year, just last month, Kimmel made a joke about Melania Trump, and what did the FCC do? They ordered every license renewal reviews for 8 ABC-owned broadcast stations. Not a slap on the wrist. They went after the broadcast licenses. And FCC commissioner, the lone Democrat on the commission, called it, quote, the most egregious action this FCC has taken in violation of the First Amendment to date. She called the whole pattern a sustained, coordinated campaign of censorship and control. So Trump says Colbert got fired, Kimmel is next. 2 months later, Kimmel gets suspended. He comes back, and in that moment, he steps out of line again. The FCC goes after his network's licenses. Okay, so basically, whether you think it's accountability or authoritarianism, probably depends on your politics. But the pattern is undeniable, and every single person out there, should actually pay attention to this, and every single person in media can see it. And that brings us to what CBS did next, because this is what really tells you that the games have changed. You see, CBS didn't just cancel Stephen Colbert. They killed the entire late night show franchise, and they replaced it with Byron Allen's Comics Unleashed. Okay, yes, the Byron Allen's Comics Unleashed. I mean, I'll be honest with you, I do enjoy that show. It's pretty funny. They got like a lot of comedians up there. I recommend y'all watch it if y'all haven't seen it yet. But yeah, Comics Unleashed is basically replacing the late show with Stephen Colbert. And that should tell you everything that's happening with this entire thing. All right? But I mean, other than that, I mean, if you don't know Byron Allen, he's a comedian himself and a media mogul. And he didn't, just take over the time slot. He actually leases the airtime from CBS. His company buys the slot. He's a billionaire, mind you. and sells it on its own ads. Now, CBS completely washed their hands of late night. They don't even program it anymore. Now, when Byron Allen announced the show, well, he went out of his way to go ahead and just, to just basically go ahead. I hate these ads, by the way. The sites with the ads. He went on ahead and brought out comedians. The show is a comedy panel. Comedians talking, joking, no monologues about Washington or no segments, dunking on politicians, no celebrity lectures about who you should vote for, just comedy. Plain and simple. That's it. Now, what that means is that CBS looked at 11 years of Stephen Colbert turning The Late Show with Stephen Colbert into what Fox News accurately described before as just simply attacks on Trump, liberal talking points, from Stephen Colbert, and celebs kissing Stephen Colbert's ring. So they looked at the final season of Stephen Colbert, that Variety, not exactly, a credible outlet, called not very good TV and out of touch with everyday Americans. And they said, you know what? We're done. Okay, not just with this host, with all of it. We're replacing political late night with a show that promised to be the exact opposite of everything Stephen Colbert represented. This is a left-wing media outlet. Okay, now if that's not the market delivering a verdict, I don't know what is. And by the way, while Stephen Colbert was losing ground, guess who was gaining? Greg Gutfeld himself. Okay, so Gutfeld on Fox News is pulling 3.53 million total viewers. That's more than Stephen Colbert, more than Kimmel, more than even Fallon. Okay, the only late night show that actually grew was the one that didn't pretend to be neutral, the one that leaned into its audience instead of lecturing everybody else's. So you'd expect Colbert to be furious, right? And at first he was. When the cancellation dropped back in July, his response was immediate, where he said for the next 10 months, the gloves are off, and he meant it. Okay, so his final version was a nonstop parade of anti-Trump content where he had Obama on the show, and Obama sat there laughing, suggesting that Colbert himself would make a better president than Trump. He brought in every MSNBC host that you can name: Rachel Maddow, Jen Psaki, Chris Hayes, CNN anchors including Jake Tapper, Kristen Collins, Anderson Cooper. I mean, fellow late night hosts Jimmy Kimmel, John Oliver, Seth Meyers, and all came through to kiss the ring, basically. So for his final week, I mean, let's just keep it a beam. Okay, for his final week, he pulled out, all of the stops with Jon Stewart, Steven Spielberg, David Byrne from, Talking Heads. Bruce Springsteen came on to on the episode and performed his anti-ICE song called Streets of Minneapolis. Okay, so Tom Hanks, Julie Louis-Dreyfus, Pedro Pascal. I mean, it was just the biggest woke celebrity farewell tour in late night history, basically. So just days before the final episode, he did sit down with People magazine in the year and of the gloves are off and the 10 months of acting like CBS committed a war crime against democracy. He said this: who knows? Maybe CBS saved my life. I don't know though. So yeah, last night, Colbert himself did walk off that stage for the last time, and Trump watched from the White House, I'm pretty sure. But here's what no one's saying out loud: where Trump didn't kill Colbert's show. Colbert killed Stephen Colbert's show. All right. Now, Trump only said that he loved that he got fired, but he's not the reason why he killed it. He just simply got the last laugh. Okay. Yes, the $16 million settlement is real. The FCC pressure is real. Trump's Truth Social is his victory laps are real. All of that happened, but none of it matters if the show is still good. You see, Johnny Carson made fun of every politician, every president who ever sat in Oval Office, and not one of them could touch him. And you know why? Because 20 million people in that night would have rioted. Carson's audience was his armor. Stephen Colbert had 2.7 million viewers, a shrinking demo, and Variety calling Stephen Colbert's show out of touch with everyday Americans. The audience left Stephen Colbert before CBS did. And because late night used to be the place where America went together, Carson let him in. Early Leno, even young Conan. Okay, so they made fun of everyone and people laughed. Somewhere along the way, late night decided it didn't want half of the country watching anymore. It chose a side. It turned monologues into sermons. It turned comedy shows into campaign rallies with better lighting, basically. So, yeah, Trump said, I hear Jimmy Kimmel is next. Kimmel got suspended after the announcement of Stephen Colbert getting canceled. He came back, made one joke about Melania, and the FCC went after ABC's broadcast licenses. So the question is not whether Stephen Colbert deserved to be canceled. I mean, plenty of people will argue about Stephen Colbert both ways, but the question is, who's next after Stephen Colbert, and does anyone in media right now have an audience big enough to survive it? And last night, that era for Stephen Colbert officially ended. So the stage is dark. The franchise is dead thanks to Stephen Colbert, and half the country, the half that the late night spent a decade telling to shut up and sit down, just got the last laugh. So let me know your thoughts about this in the comments below. Now, see you all in the next one. Until then, peace.